Hi everyone, it's Kino here. Welcome to day 26 of the Ashtanga Yoga Challenge. And look, today I have a yoga wheel. I'm going to make use of the yoga wheel. Not like that, but in some other fun way. It was just rolling away, so I had to grab it. So I understand that yesterday I said it was day 28 when it was day 25, so I am actually sorry about that, and I hope that you're still with me on the challenge. So I just want to say a big thanks to everyone who left me really nice, happy comments yesterday, and that you are practicing with me, and everybody that shares their support. I want you to know how much it really, really means to me. I really, really mean that. And it's your commitment to the practice that keeps me inspired. Otherwise, I can't always find the inspiration to keep showing up and sharing. And I know that now, as we're sort of winding end of the primary series, the posture called Setu Bandhasana. This is the asana of today. When we reach the end of the primary series, congratulations! We have now completed the primary series. Now, you might be wondering, well, what else are we going to do for the remainder of the challenge? Gosh, if we're done with primary series, doesn't that mean the Ashtanga challenge is done? Oh, no. You see, the Ashtanga yoga method is broken up into a couple of different organized groups of postures. So let's review. First, we've done the sun salutations. And the sun salutations are considered to be a complete practice in and of themselves. So first, we did the sun salutations. Second, we did the standing poses. And the standing poses are the foundational asanas that really lay the groundwork for every other asana, no matter how complex in the entire yoga practice. Then we moved into the primary series of the Ashtanga yoga method, which we are completing today with the asana called Seitu Bandhasana. Now, after that, there's a whole group of poses that begin with backbending, and backbending is its own kind of mini practice within a practice. So Setu Bandasana helps us prepare for backbends, but it is not the backbending practice. We'll go over that tomorrow. And there are many different variations and levels of the backbending practice, and so we'll take a look at what those are. Now, after backbending, then we have what's called the closing poses. And the closing poses are an important period of deep integration. So we'll get through those. In every practice of Ashtanga Yoga, you'll find the sun salutations, the standing poses, some series. So we're working on primary series in this challenge, backbending and closing poses. In the Ashtanga Yoga method, there are actually 6 series of poses, primary series, which is called Yoga Chikitsa. Yoga Chikitsa, bringing health and healing into the body. So I hope that you feel healthier now that you've been practicing yoga for 26 days with me and getting on the mat and doing the practice. Once you lay a solid foundation in the primary series, Yoga Chikitsa, then we can move into Nadi Shodhana, which is nervous system cleansing. And when we move into Nadi Shodhana, the postures get harder, more challenging, more stimulating, more vigorous. And then we have 2 series, also called second series. Then we move into the third series of Ashtanga Yoga, which is actually Advanced A. And Advanced A is third series, Advanced B is fourth series, Advanced C is the 5th series, and Advanced D is the 6th series. So there's all these different sections of increasingly more difficult asanas. I'm practicing 3rd series, 4th series, and some of 5th series. And this entire group of asanas in the Sanskrit is called Sthira Bhaga. And when we're thinking about Sthira, again, with Sthira is the Sanskrit word for steady strength. And when we kind of really get very precise and there's a high level of kind of, integration that's really worked in through all of the asanas when you get to the level of the 3rd series. 3rd series, 4th series, 5th series, all very, very challenging. So it's important that you understand that although in the mind we like to associate higher numbers with more spiritual development, you can find all of the spiritual learning in whatever asana is appropriate for you to do for today. You don't need to go and accumulate asanas and put them on yourself like trophies to prove that you're a more spiritual person. It's not like you go 4th series and poof, there's enlightenment. It's just a practice. And there are so many asanas just so that you can understand that first, it's an eternal practice. There's always another asana. There's always a challenge, so that no matter what level of physical ability you come into the practice, the Ashtanga Yoga method will always find some challenge that's there for you. Now, the end of the primary series. Congratulations! Yay! We made it! Seitu Bandasana. Setu is the Sanskrit word for bridge. So sometimes when you hear bridge pose, the bridge pose sometimes you think about as actually what we're going to do tomorrow, which is Urdhva Dhanurasana. We'll take a look at that tomorrow. But bridge pose in the Ashtanga method is Setu Bandhasana. Setu Bandhasana, it looks a little scary because we're going to roll through the neck and place weight on the top of the head. And then we make a bridge by lifting the body up off of the ground. All right, so Setu Bandhasana. And it includes the word bandha. And bandha means a lock. And we also have those internal locks of Mula Bandha and Uddiyana Bandha that we are constantly engaging during the practice. So Setu Bandhasana, when you make the bridge pose and bind yourself in that bridge pose. So it's sort of like a stable bridge posture, or to, you know, find stability and hold yourself in that bridge posture. So, you know, I like my softer side of Ashtanga practice, and today I have a yoga wheel. And so to warm up for the back bends today, in lieu of the entire primary series, we're going to use the yoga wheel. I'm just going to put my hair up here because I think it's going to be better. Now, when you're using, you don't have to have a yoga wheel. You could also do this with the blocks, but this is dramatically better with the wheel. I'm not trying to sell you any product. You know, you can also just lie over a bunch of pillows that you have at home as well. So if I set the yoga wheel up at the very base of the spine and then lift the spine over, bending the knees, and then drop the pelvis down. Now I can access the center of the sort of center of the spine, where the rib cage lifts away from the hips. Then if I roll back and place the head on the ground, this is a very similar position to where you want to end up in Setu Bandasana. So if this feels a little bit intense, then you want to start in a little bit of the lower position and work your back bend kind of from here. So you can lift your chest over, drop the hips, and then extend the arms. And let's try to stay here for 5 breaths, okay? 1, 2, this is of course a great warm up for any back bending. 3, 4, 5. Now let's do that roll. So just straighten the legs and aim the top of the head towards the ground. And I'm just going to reposition the wheel a little bit and make sure that it's going to support my upper back. So I'm wiggling up so that the wheel is sort of a little bit higher. And then the top of the head reaches towards the ground. And let's practice that Setu Bandhasana shape. So the heels press into each other, and the legs are straight, and the toes point away from each other. Then cross your arms over each other, holding the opposite shoulder. And you could practice pointing your feet, or you can leave them flexed, whatever feels better. Both are wonderful options. Then I want you to see if you can relax your back muscles and relax your glutes for a moment, okay? And let's hold this for 5. And so this is probably the most relaxing Setu Bandhasana we'll ever do. So let's stay for 5. 1, 2, 3, nice and easy. 4, 5. Now watch the spinal extension as I take the hands on the ground. I'm going to bend the knees a little bit, and I'm going to roll the neck back and in. And so now, instead of being on the top of the head, I'm going to aim my forehead to the ground and then again return the legs to straight. And so this starts to be more of the feeling of what we would actually face in Setu Bandhasana. So when you roll back, you stretch the cervical spine and you stretch the neck as well. And let's hold this for 5. 1. See if now you can activate your legs a little bit. 2, 3, 4, almost there. 5, hands on the ground, bend your knees, exhale, roll down. And if you want to stay for a moment, because the back bend feels nice, you're welcome to stay for a moment. And then inhale, lift the head on up. And exhale, easy release. There's so many wonderful things you can do with the yoga wheel. Since I have the wheel here, forward so that the wheel is now a little bit lower, and press the pelvis onto the wheel. So this is another version of the bridge posture, except now I'm not actually on my neck, which is what we would traditionally do in Setu Bandasana. So if you feel that the front of the pelvis is very stiff, this is a wonderful tool to help open the front of the pelvis. However, you could use a bigger wheel if you wanted to replicate that feeling in the neck. But by placing the wheel underneath the sacrum, you can now begin to release the front of the hip a little bit more. I'm going to place the elbows on the ground, and now the back of the head rather than the top of the head is on the ground. And this is also a good stretch to prepare you for Setu Bandasana. Check your feet, heels into each other, toes either pointed or pressing out to the side. And we'll stay for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, almost there. 5, good. Bend the knees, roll it on out, and then exhale, remove the wheel. So come on back to seated and let's remove the yoga wheel. I'm just gonna place that over here. Hopefully it won't roll away like it did before, okay? Good. Now you're gonna lie down and to prepare for Seitu Bandasana, something that everybody can do. So there's a lot of fear about what's happening with the neck in Seitu Bandasana. Don't fear the neck. We want to get a deep bend or extension in the cervical spine. So by working through activating the muscles of the cervical spine in this kind of very strange weight-bearing position, you can actually strengthen the spine. Of course, if you have any herniated discs in your neck, it's a huge contraindication. You probably want to skip this posture. Only do it with the support of the wheels. There's no weight on your head. All right? Now, as I mentioned, the prepare we can all do. Everybody can do the prepare. So heels press into each other and just have a look at the position of the feet. A lot of people will do this with the feet and just bring the toes together, but in Seitu Bandasana, you want the heels to touch and the toes to spread apart. So we can somehow say this a little bit like a duck, and you want to be able to press into the heels so the heels are actually touching each other, okay? So here we go. I'm going to lie down again. All right, so we lie down again, and then I'm going to make sure I'm fully on this blanket here. And the heels are pressing into each other. Then notice that my feet are quite far away from the pelvis. If you bring the feet too close, you won't be able to make a bridge, and instead you will make a bow, which is something we'll do tomorrow. So you want the heels to be quite far away from the pelvis. As further away is better than closer. Then don't let your knees flop out to the side like Supta Baddha Konasana. Activate the inner thighs a little bit so you can activate. So you can press the heels and let it feel like you can push into your feet. So as I push into my feet, you can see me kind of strangely bouncing here. Then, when you put the hands on the ground, I want you to push into your elbows, pop your chest up, and then exhale, head back. Now, you can hold onto your thighs, and everybody can do the prepare. So this is the prepare, and we'll stay for 5. 1, 2, 3, and so here's the, you don't want to just be dumping weight down into the head. Press with your elbows. Activate your back muscles and lift your chest up. 3, 4, and 5. Lift your head up and exhale down. Now, if that was a lot for your neck, that's probably your maximum for Seitu Bandasana. And then as your neck gets stronger and your back gets stronger, you will be able to lift up into the posture. So let's talk about how to lift up into the posture. All right, here we go. Bring the heels into each other. And as the heels gently press into each other, then again we go for the prepare. Press into the elbows, keep the pelvis. Lift the chest. Reach back. Now, the traditional gaze is at the tip of the nose. So if you're a little hesitant, there are 2 different hand positions. I personally like this one, where you press into the top of the head, but keep your hands in position. The key is to not push with the hands, but just to use them like training wheels. You can try that. And then exhale, you sink the butt down. Then you know, the training, I call it like the training wheel option. The problem is if you push too much with your hands, it turns too much into the shoulders, and it's very hard to transfer the weight back into the head. Now let's talk about the second placement of the hands. Again, we prepare. Now, we get a better prepare there. So this is very similar to the asana called Matsyasana, or the fish pose. And then activating the back muscles, you can extend the arms. And so this is just kind of tracking to make sure that you don't weave off to the side. You have to work very symmetrically in this asana. Then, activating the back muscles, press into the legs, and inhale, roll over. And from here, you can test out lifting the hands or not, and exhale down. Then lift the head up and come on back down. Okay, so sometimes after back bends, you can get a little spacey. That just happened to me, a little spacey, like woo. It's a wonderful, kind of moderately pleasant sensation if you can just allow it to be there. Okay, so there's one more entry into Seitu Bandasana, and then I'm going to show you a modification if you absolutely cannot bear any weight in your neck and if you don't have a yoga wheel. I personally really like the yoga wheel. I think like if I could choose Seitu Bandasana, I would do it always with the wheel, but you know, we want to build a little bit of strength. So when you activate into the posture, you build strength as well. All right, so we do it? What do you think? All right, I'm going to take that as a yes. So now, Setu Bandhasana can be very sensitive at the top of the head and around the top of the forehead. So you do want to roll through the neck and push a little weight on the top of the head and then reach out of it. Now the traditional entry into the posture, we come up, cross your hands over each other, and then you can pull a little down with your hands. And this actually takes a little bit of weight off of your head. Then inhale, lift the hips first, and then just roll and press. And then we hold for 5. 1, 2, 3, almost there, 4, and 5. Open the feet, the butt goes down first, and then exhale, the neck comes all the way down. Now, traditionally, we exit this posture in the vinyasa called chakrasana, which is quite a challenging movement, but it's a counter stretch actually for the neck. So maybe we don't do the chakrasana today because that's a whole other universe, but I would like to make sure that everybody who's tried up until now has a full release of the neck. So you're gonna lift your legs up, stay here for a moment, then fold your legs into the body, hands on the ground, inhale, hips up. Good. And let's just hold Halasana for about 5 breaths. 1, and you can see how this is the opposite position of the neck. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Open the shoulders and exhale, roll it down. All right, so we're going to go over the shoulder stand technique another day. Very important in Setu Bandhasana that you track symmetrically. So don't weave in any direction. Gaze at the nose tip and feel the body moving symmetrically. I promised you a variation to do if you absolutely cannot bear any weight on your neck. Okay, so let's go over that. The heels press into each other. And then instead of the Matsyasana prepare, you're going to keep your head on the ground and then lift the chest up and forward. So now instead of rolling through the top of the head, just like we did with the wheel, you're going to press your shoulders behind you, all right? And then inhale, lift the hips up only. And then you're going to slide through the shoulders. And from here, you can interlock or you can assist your bridge pose by placing the hands underneath the pelvis. And then we can hold this for, let's do 5 breaths. 1, 2, and so the elbows are really bearing all of the weight, which is why I can turn over and look at you. 3, 4, and 5. Bend the knees, and then exhale, come on down. All right, so slide it on back. If you could not get your hands underneath the pelvis, remember you can also just do that same lift and just kind of slide back. The only thing that's very helpful is if you have a yoga mat or something that's not going to slide like this cozy blanket underneath. So let's bend the knees, and even that was quite deep on the pelvis, so I want you to draw the knees into the chest. And let's go for 5 breaths. 1, 2, and back bends really stimulate energy, sometimes bring up fear. 3, 4, 5. That's good. Let's roll it on up. I'm going to slide that blanket on back. And now, there's my hair. I'll tie it in a knot. Okay, so Seitu Bandasana can bring up a lot of fear. And when you're thinking of the fear, it's often fear of doing something bad for the neck. However, the cervical spine wants to have that kind of, deep curve, very much like the lumbar portion of the spine. So the cervical spine is a mirror image of the lumbar spine. And postures like Setu Bandasana, if performed with and practiced regularly with consciousness and with awareness, will actually help support the neck over time, not like instantaneously. But you can actually build back your cervical spine curve by practicing postures like Setu Bandasana. Having a strong, healthy neck means so much in terms of your freedom, in terms of your ability to just feel the healthy postural position and feel a good flow of energy in the spine. So take a moment and feel the impact of Setu Bandasana, and hopefully you are able to feel, again, a nice traction through each joint of the cervical spine so that you can really feel a healthy bend, never a compression. And so this is important to think about when you're thinking about flexibility postures, is that you're never really just going to be able to just snap your fingers and do it. I mean, unless you're born just maybe able to do that posture. Most of us, myself included, are going to have to work methodically. This version, then this version, then this version, then this version, then this version, and then slowly over time, the strength and the flexibility really start to be expressed. But if you rush the journey and you try to make it happen too quickly, then the body can really start to suffer. So my advice to you is be very patient and kind with yourself and stay with it for the long journey. This is the end of the primary series. So take a moment and just congratulate yourself. Congratulations. Yay! No matter if I jumped off the challenge or if I'm just joining now, I've made it to the end of primary series. This is a lifelong practice. So I intend this 30-day journey to guide you progressively into the Ashtanga yoga method, giving you just enough inspiration to keep coming back to the mat over and over and over again. The real impact of the practice is felt inside your heart, and then it expands outward, bringing more peace and more happiness into every moment of your life. So remember that. And my friends, keep practicing, keep practicing, keep practicing. Thanks so much for tuning in today. I send you a lot of love, and I will see you tomorrow for even more backbends. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so thanks.